What's going on YouTube? In today's video, we're going to be talking about how we purchased a 7-property portfolio with none of our own money. My name is Sean and my wife and I are multi-millionaire real estate investors with 32 units in our portfolio. And on this channel, we talk about personal finance tips to help you become an investing boss. So if you're interested in growing your net worth, then be sure to subscribe to see more videos just like this one. So the backstory behind how we found this portfolio is we had already purchased a few properties and already had a team set up in place in this target market that we had evaluated a few years before. So because we already had the lender set up, the property manager set up, and the agent set up, and we were pretty good customers, we didn't create a lot of drama when we purchased properties. Everything was a pretty smooth transaction for us. So basically we were very nice people to work with. Then a few months ago, one of the other clients that my property manager has decided that they wanted to get out of the rental game and they wanted to sell their properties to then buy their dream home. Now the property manager wanted to maintain control of these properties to make sure the neighborhood was good. And so they decided, hey, who should we offer these properties to? Why not offer it to one of our better clients, which happened to be us? Our agent presented the offer to us with some numbers. After some back and forth negotiations, we ended up getting under contract for the 7-property portfolio for $268,000. Yes, this is a pretty low price because these are pretty affordable markets. So with a total price of $268,000, the average unit price is $38,285. Now the cool thing is, this was already a discount. The current value of these properties were around $50,000 each, which means that we bought them at around a 20% discount. Now, not all the properties were perfect. Some of them did also need some renovations to be rent ready. Now, the gross rents was $4,363, or an average of $623 per unit, which hits above the 1% rule. Actually, if you divide 623 by 38,285, then you will get 1.63%. So we're actually doing pretty well on the cash flow side. Once everything is stabilized, that rent will cover our mortgage, as well as our normal expenses, such as our property management fees, our insurance and property taxes, as well as any small repairs that need to be done to maintain the properties. But the most interesting part about this story is how we financed this deal so that we got it with 100% financing and put none of our own money into the deal. But before we get into that, if you guys have enjoyed this video so far, then be sure to smash the like button to help feed the YouTube algorithm. Now, we actually purchased this property with none of our own money, with air quotes here. We did have to put in $3,000 for the earnest money deposit to secure the deal, but we did end up getting over 100% financing. So that covered the entire purchase price plus a majority of the closing costs as well. Our total purchase price for the deal was $268,000, and our total loan amount ended up being $276,000. Our total closing cost for this deal turned out to be $10,011. So at closing, we didn't get our entire $3,000 back, but we got a majority of it back. Now you might be thinking, $10,000 for closing costs on such a small deal seems like a lot of money. And you're right, it is a lot of money. But you have to remember, this is a 7-property portfolio deal. So the title company has to do title searches on 7 different properties, and therefore we have 7 times these title charges. We also got title insurance for these properties because you never know if there's going to be a title issue somewhere down the line. I want to make sure that everything is good and we're actually buying the properties without any weird liens or encumbrances on them. I want them to be clear and good. We also have to pay $2,500 for the lender fees. So you might also be asking, how did you get 100% financing on these deals? And that's a good question to ask because most lenders want at least 20% down. And for multifamily properties or even portfolio deals, they want 25% down or even 30% down. And on top of that, since the value of the properties are under $50,000, most nationwide banks won't do this loan in the first place. So normally for this kind of deal, you'd have to go cash or hard money loan. But luckily, before we got this deal, we had already developed connections with a local commercial lender who does loans for these type of properties all the time. And they're able to offer us some pretty amazing terms. Normally, they can offer us up to 85% of the purchase price for just a single family or a duplex. But since this is a larger portfolio loan, we can only get 80%. So you might be thinking, okay, well, you still have to put down 20%. Well, that's where the beauty of our strategy comes into play. And that's called cross-collateralization. So cross-collateralization is where you could take the equity that you own in another property that you have and use that as a down payment to then make the deal complete. So we actually did own another property that we had purchased a few years ago, and we owned it free and clear because at the time we felt like the property was pretty good value. And by buying it cash, we could close quickly and just had a property cash flow. So when we bought that property, it was worth $40,000. Again, we just used our own cash to buy the property. And when they did the appraisal on it, it was now worth $60,000. So they could take the equity from that property and use that towards the down payment. So then it covered the entire amount. Now, the interesting thing about commercial loans is, it's very different actually from your conventional mortgage. With a conventional mortgage, you're usually getting a 30-year fixed interest rate loan that gets paid off over 30 years. But with a commercial loan, it's really different. Normally, instead of a 30-year time frame, they're at a 20-year time frame. So you just keep making the regular payments, then you'll pay off the entire mortgage in 20 years instead of 30 years. And also, with most of these commercial loans, they're only on a 5-year term. So every 5 years, you have to refinance or sell your properties or just pay them off. We were able to negotiate with a commercial lender to make this a 20-year loan, but every 5 years, the interest rates will adjust based on the market price. By the time we onboard this loan, interest rates were already going up, so it was getting kind of scary for us. But luckily, we were locked in a low rate. So for at least for the next 5 years, we're going to be in it for somewhere in the mid 4s. Who knows after year 5 if interest rates are in the 7s or the 8s? Then I guess we have to reevaluate and see if this is still worth it to keep it in this loan or if we'll change it to some other kind of loan product. But yeah, differences in the terms, differences in the lifetime, differences in the amount of payment. So our payment is actually relatively high for this kind of loan. Our monthly mortgage payment is $1,755.66. Again, it's higher because we're making more principal payments because this is a 20-year loan and not a 30-year loan. So this deal is really cool to us because it was a combination, of finding a great off-market opportunity because of the relationships that we built, as well as using some, somewhat creative financing to be able to finance this at 100%. So essentially, what the story is we just got 7 new units that basically cash flows from day one, and we didn't have to put in any extra money into it. We just tapped into the equity of a property that we already owned, that already cash flowed, and yeah, we just got more cash flow for basically putting in no extra money. Now to recap on the numbers here, our gross rents are $4,363 per month. Our monthly mortgage payment is $1,755, and our property management fees are 8% of the gross amount, which ends up being $340. We also have 7 different insurance policies on them. Each one's averaging around $20 or so. So it ends up being around $140 a month for insurance. We're also paying around $233 a month total for the property taxes for the entire portfolio. Now we still do need to stabilize this property a little bit, but after it's all said and done, we should be getting a net cash flow of $1,894 per month. Of course, we do always set aside 10% of the gross rents for any miscellaneous repairs. So after all of that, it's $1,458 per month. So again, not bad for a deal where we didn't have to put up any of our own money to buy the property. So let me know your thoughts about our 7 property portfolio deal, and if you thought we could have done better. I want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Now, if you want to see more case studies of us buying real estate, then check out this video where we talk about how we purchased our Moldy House Burr project. We discuss how we bought the property, how we fixed it up, and how we were able to do a cash out refinance to be able to get all of our money back out of the project, as well as $30,000 tax-free and still own a cash flowing rental property. Thanks for watching this video. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Take care.